Hey, fourth grade friends, it's time for math again, and we are doing Module 7, Lesson 9. And we're kind of going back to a lot of the things that we've been doing over the last couple of days and even the last week, where we are looking at word problems, but we're also looking at conversion charts. And so today we are going to be doing some of the same things. So we're going to be solving problems using mixed units of time. So one of the things that's important to remember is that 1 minute is equivalent to 60 seconds, and 1 hour is equivalent to 60 minutes, and back and forth. This conversion is going to become important as we go through these math problems. So as you look at this one, we have 31 seconds and 29 seconds. Now in this one, it's going to be kind of easy to add those because I have like units. So seconds to seconds I can add, and then it just becomes a regular math problem. I can add 31 seconds to 29 seconds, and when I add that, I get 60 seconds. But going back to that conversion, I know that 60 seconds equals 1 minute. And so that 1 minute then goes up on the line up here for 1 minute. I have 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Now in this one, I do not have like units, and so I'm going to have to convert them. And I know that I'm going to have to find some answers for this seconds part. So I'm going to have to convert some of that 5 minutes into seconds in order to be able to subtract. So when I do this, you can line it up however you want to do it, and you can do it sideways if you like. I like to use a T-graph. So here's my T-graph, and on one side I'm going to put the minutes, and on the other side I'm going to put the seconds. And that helps me kind of keep it organized and straight. So on the top I have 5 minutes, no seconds, and I have 15 seconds that I'm going to subtract from that. When I turn that into a math problem and I'm looking at that, well, I know I can't take 15 away from nothing. So I can go over here to this 5 minutes, and I can break it up into 4 minutes, and then that 1 minute that I have left over, I can actually convert it to 60 seconds and put it over here. Now, because 4 minutes and 60 seconds is equivalent to 5 minutes, I can actually do this problem because I have like units now. 60 seconds minus 15 seconds is 45 seconds. 4 minutes minus no minutes is 4 minutes. So the answer to this one is 4 minutes and 45 seconds. And so that's why that conversion is really important for me to remember. It's similar to a regular subtraction problem, except it's based on minutes and seconds, not tens, and that will be an important point to remember as well. So going on, the problems get a little bit more complex. I have 3 hours and 15 minutes plus 5 hours and 55 minutes. And if the paper was longer, I would have put this down on the end, but I wanted to have it big enough for us all to be able to see. So I could add my like hours 3 and 5, and then I can add my like minutes 55 and 15, and you can add them sideways if you like. You'll end up with 8 hours and 70 minutes. But for me, again, I like that T-graph, so I'm going to do my hour on one side and my minutes on the other, just like it's written here. I have 3 hours and 15 minutes plus 5 hours and 55 minutes. When I add those together, 5 and 5 is 10, carry the 1, gives me 70 minutes. This gives me 8 hours. Now, rather than writing 8 hours and 70 minutes, I know that that 70 minutes needs to be converted because it's more than 60. So I know that I have at least 1 hour hiding in there. So if I take that, I can make 60, which is 1 hour, and I'll have 10 left over. So I have 10 minutes, and then this 60 I can convert into 1 hour over here. That gives me 9 hours and 10 minutes. 9 hours and 10 minutes, because that 60 then gets converted back to an hour. So we're going to be converting down, we're going to be converting up. That's why it's so important that we know what those are. And looking at this one, we have 22 minutes, 37 seconds minus 5 minutes and 58 seconds. Well, the 22 and the 5 minutes works really well. But the 37 and the 58, 58's more than 37. So I'm not going to be able to subtract that way. I know that I'm going to have to borrow. Now, if you're able to borrow sideways and figure that out, go for it. For me, I'm going to go back to my T-graph because it's how it makes sense in my brain. So I've got minutes and I've got seconds. So I've got 22 minutes and 37 seconds minus 5 minutes and 58 seconds. Now, when I look at this, I can just do my seconds first. And I know now I can just treat this like a regular math problem. So 8 can't be taken away from 7. Again, I'm going to borrow 17 minus 8 leaves that 9. Oops, I forgot to borrow from over here. Did you see what I did? That's not going to work. 5 from 2 is not going to work. So I got to go over here and I've got to take this 21 minutes because I need to borrow one of those minutes and take it all the way over here. Now I should have added it to that 37, and let's just pretend I didn't do that and go over here and make this 37 plus 60. That's going to turn it into 97. Now I can take 97 away from 58, and I've got 9. 8 from 7 doesn't work, so I'm going to borrow from the 9, give it to the 7, make it 17. Now I've got 17 minus 8 is 9, and 8 minus 5 is 3. Now, over here, 21 minus 5, that leaves me 16 hours. So a little bit roundabout, and I'm sorry that I skipped that step for you, but always you're going to find that you're going to skip steps along the way, and you're going to want to go back and fix it, and that's perfectly okay, especially when you come across something in math and you go, oh, that didn't make sense. Let me look at the steps that I did along the way. Super important for you to do. So I've got 16 minutes and 39 seconds. And then I get to the word problems, and a lot of times when you see all those words, you go, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. But if you just take it apart, it actually isn't going to be quite as confusing as you might think. Joanna read 3 books. Her goal was to finish all 3 books. So I highlighted 3 books because I know she wants to finish all 3 of them, and she wants to finish all 3 books in a total of 7 hours. She completed them respectively. That means in about 2 hours and 37 minutes, that was one time, 3 hours and 9 minutes, and 1 hour and 51 minutes. Did she meet her goal? Well, the way I can figure out is I know that she wants to meet the whole thing in 7 hours. And she read 3 books. She read one in 2 hours and 37 minutes. She read one in 3 hours and 9 minutes. And she read one in 1 hour and 51 minutes. So hour, minute, hour, minute, hour, minute. Now, I don't know if that is equivalent to 7 hours or not. So the way I'm going to need to figure that out is I'm going to have to add. I'm going to add a little bit of extra paper here on the end so I can scoot that up and have a little bit of room to work. For me, I'm going to go back to my T-graph. And I've got hours and minutes, and I want to know, did she do this in 7 hours? So I've got 2 hours and 37 minutes, 3 hours and 9 minutes, and 1 hour and 51 minutes. And again, I'm lining those up so that it's easier for me to add them. So I've got 9 and 1 is 10, and 7 more is 17. So I've got 97 on the minute side, and I've got 5/6 on the hour side. Now, I can't say 6 hours and 97 minutes, or I could, but that wouldn't be how we want to do that. We want to make sure that we take out any hours that are on the minute side. So I know that 97 is 1 hour is 60 minutes. So if I take out the 60 minutes, I'm going to be left with 37 minutes on that side. And that hour now gets added to 6 to make it 7. So in total, she read, oops, a little space there. She read for 7 hours and 37 minutes. That's fabulous. Did I answer the question? No, because the question is, did she meet her goal? Well, the answer to the question is then no, because she read 37 minutes longer. And I can even find a place to make sure that I know, oh, that's where I put my answer. She read 37 minutes longer. So no, she didn't reach her goal. Now the second part of this question, because this is an A, so where there's an A, there's typically a B, uses the same information. This one uses, Joanna completed the 2 shortest books in one evening. How long did she spend reading that evening? How long, with her goal in mind, did that leave her to read the 3rd book? So they want us to look back at the 2 books that were shorter. And I know that there were 3 books. One book was 3 hours. So that was the longest. So the other two books had 1 hour and 51 minutes and 2 hours and 37 minutes. So, you know, Detective Mrs. Pugh here, I know those are the two shortest books. So I'm going to add up those first. So my two shortest books, again, using my T-graph here, I've got hours and minutes, and I'm going to add 2 hours and 37 minutes. Now, just so you know where I got that, it was 2 hours and 37 minutes and 1 hour and 51 minutes. Those are the two shortest books. 1 hour and 51 minutes. So I've got 88 minutes on that side and 3 on this side. Now remember, I know that in this 88 minutes, I can take 60 out. That would give me an hour, and that leaves me 28 minutes on this side. So that 60 then goes over here and makes this be 4 hours. So I have 4 hours and 28 minutes. Again, that's great, but does it answer the question? No, because the question is, how long, with her goal in mind, did that leave her to read the third book? Well, her goal was to read everything in 7 hours. So if I take this 4 hours and 28 minutes, and if I can subtract that, then I can figure it out. Because remember, here's my 7 hours. There's my tape diagram of 7 hours. And there are 3 books, and she read 2 of them in 4 hours and 28 minutes. And the question is, how much time now is left for this time? So I can subtract 4 hours and 28 minutes from 7 hours to find out what that is. So let's try that. Hours, minutes, I've got 7 hours, and then I'm going to subtract 4 hours and 28 minutes. Now I'm going to have to borrow from the 7 and make that 6 hours, and then take 60 minutes and put it over here. And then I can treat it like a regular subtraction problem. I have 32 minutes right here, and 6 minus 4 gives me 2 hours. So in answer to the question, how long, with her goal in mind, did that leave her to read the third book? She has 2 hours and 32 minutes to read the third book. That is how much time she has left. Remember, with these word problems, it can seem like a lot, and look at all the math we did with that. But it's really important that you take each one and take it apart so that you know exactly what it's saying. So now it's time for you to grab your math book, to go to your lesson and check out all of the practice problems there and get your own practice for solving problems involving mixed units of time. See you later, fourth graders.